welcome to another episode of the Busy Fit podcast. This is Aaron Duval, and I have the pleasure of welcoming a new guest slash co-host slash great coach slash just awesome human to everybody who goes by the name of Billy Cedar. So, Billy, welcome to the show. Glad to have you on. And so Billy and I have actually worked previously together at Mississippi State and had a lot of cross paths along the way. So he's joining ship with us with Mejoria training, and we'll be on future episodes of the podcast. So Billy, it's great to have you, buddy.
Thanks, Aaron. That was quite the introduction. Yeah, it's funny. We met at a conference, if you remember, at Coaches College at ETSU. That's how we met. And you posted about Mississippi State on Instagram, and I was like, "Oh, I know this guy. I should apply." And look at us now.
Look at us now. Just
look at us
chit-chatting on a podcast. Yeah, who'd have thought? Well, Billy, what we're gonna do today is, and for those listening, Billy's a wealth of knowledge, and we have not much structure going into this episode. Where I would rather kind of throw a few different topics out at Billy and get his opinion on, like, hey, what are the, 1 to 3 best of this category, or 1 to 3 worst of this category, in your opinion. And I'm sure, knowing us, that we'll go off on some random tangents, and some other questions might organically pop up, training related and such. So, Billy, if you're ready to rock and roll, I'm ready to throw some random categories at you.
Let's do it. I'm ready.
If you can only do 3 exercises for the rest of your life, and that's the only 3 things you can do, like, we're not talking warm up, not talking anything else. Like, those are the only 3 you can do. What are you choosing and why?
Oh, this one's easy. I'm going squat for sure.
Okay.
Just like lifelong functionality and health. I mean, also, you and I both are, well, I know I'm a former weightlifter. I don't know if you're making a revival, but
No,
the squat was
pretty much hung that up, unfortunately.
fair enough. I mean, I always loved the squat. I mean, I was never that strong. I always say I'm a strength coach, not a strong coach, but I just always enjoyed the squat. So, like, I enjoy it. And like, the research shows that, like, leg strength is one of the key things that keeps you, like, mobile and living longer. So definitely the squat. I love, as a weightlifter, I didn't get to bench a lot for a long time. So now I'm like, I don't know. I think I'm making up for it now. I love the bench press.
Are you about to go just the powerlifting route and say bench, squat, deadlift?
No, actually, as I'm saying this, I'm gonna revoke at what I'm starting to say. I'm not putting bench press on the list as much as maybe I'd like to. You know what I'm putting? Overhead press.
Okay.
I love pressing overhead. I love it. It's I always was pretty good at it compared to, like, other stuff. Like, I could jerk for a double what I could clean for one. Like, I love pressing overhead. And that's just, like, another, like, functional thing. Like, lifting stuff over your head is like, I mean, you just think about in your kitchen picking up a can off of a shelf over your head, or like something like that. Like, that's just like a lifelong functionality thing too. Not to mention the fact that I just so deeply enjoy pressing overhead. It just makes you feel, like I said, I've never been that strong, but pressing overhead, like, makes you feel strong, I think.
All right, I like it. So we got a squat, we got an overhead press. What else are we throwing in?
The last one, I'm gonna go RDL. Go RDL because it's another functional thing, like picking stuff up off the ground. Like, if you can have a strong back for the rest of your life, if you can have a strong back, legs, and shoulder, like, overhead pressing ability throughout your life, like, you're pretty much set. Like, as you get older, you're still going to be able to, like, do stuff, I also like RDLs better than doing regular deadlifts. I can't remember the last regular deadlift I did. But then maybe that's because of the weightlifter stuff too, where, like, we hardly ever did that.
I like it.
I think those are mine.
I like it. I like that you're going the longevity route here too. That it's not just like, I like this, but, like, yeah, if you can only do three things, and again, we're talking like we're gonna grow old, but we're gonna maintain like good postural strength, like good like just lower body health in general. It also maybe some dad strength on, pressing a log up overhead or
Right.
something like
Total
that's,
overhead pressing is training for dad strength, I think.
yeah, I like it. All right. I like those. All right. What about, similar question, but different topic here. So those are your three exercises you're doing for the rest of your life. If you can only eat three different foods for the rest of your life, um, and let's we won't like if we say like steak, okay, that doesn't mean you have to have a plain steak. Like we can have like some fixings and stuff on it.
All right. All right.
So we'll say three dishes. What are the three dishes that you're gonna have for the rest? Now, keep in mind, again, we're talking longevity here. Maybe I don't know. That may not be your priority when it comes to food, but like if you never get certain nutrients, you may like we'll say get sick or feel like crap or not have energy
In
or
this scenario, I can get scurvy like an 18th century pirate.
exactly. You may not, but
Terrible.
I don't know. I'm not saying you need to put like oranges as one of your three, but just keeping those things in mind. What do you got?
Okay. All right, I'm gonna go. This is a childhood favorite, and I'm gonna spin it into being to sounding healthy. I'm going lasagna, top of the list.
Okay,
Um,
fair.
I have loved my ever since I was a little boy. I loved lasagna. Um, but here's how I'm gonna spin it. Okay, it's it's balanced. It can be macro friendly if you are smart about it, right? I mean, you have carbs, you put a meat in there, and then cheese. That's balance, baby. You just gotta make it macro friendly somehow, which
So
is
so
albeit
so
hard to do.
so what you're saying is you don't need three foods. If you're just eating lasagna for the rest of your life,
It's the one
and
with everything in it, man. It's got everything in it.
you got all the macros, if you're putting, maybe some like some sort of like vegetable or green in there somehow
Well,
too.
here's what I'll say, and I wonder if this is a memory that you have. That at Mississippi State one time, Steph kept saying I should make lasagna and bring it in, and I made a lasagna and brought it in one day to work. Do you recall this?
I don't, but it sounds like something you would do.
I brought in like one of those aluminum pans that you'd have at like a I don't know like a family barbecue or something. I made a lasagna in it and I brought it into work to share. And you busted my chops because I put mushrooms in it. Because that's my way of sneaking vegetables into my life.
Oh, now it's all coming together. Now it's okay, but in this context of again, we're trying to unify our nutrients, our micro and macros to one to three foods. Like in this context, I support it, but no, in at work, someone's giving me lunch and I find a mushroom in it. That's not for me, but
you
I
were
do.
you
I
were stuck.
respect the answer. Yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds about right.
So there you go. I'm sneaking vegetables in there. Um, Number two, I'm going eggs.
Okay.
Eggs. I'm a big hard boiled egg guy.
All right.
Like I'll put down a fair number of eggs throughout the week, and I'll hard boil them. I mean, I think they call it nature's multivitamin, don't they? I think that's something. Maybe we need to refer to one of our dietitian on
Yeah. No, I think you made that. I think you said that, but
that.
that's
Oh,
someone
I
said
said
it.
it just now.
Yeah.
I think I had a dream about it or an ice cream headache or something, and thought it. Yeah, I'm going eggs because they are pretty nutrient dense and obviously protein. I mean, just imagine doing overhead presses and then slamming hard boiled eggs. You
Yeah.
know, um, that's some dad strength stuff
Yeah.
right
You're
there.
right. You're
And
right.
I'm not a father, but I know that.
I respect it. All right. What are you topping it off with then? We got the lasagna and eggs.
Okay, now I'm thinking I'm worried about getting scurvy. Um, I feel like I have to have some citrus in my last one. Or can the tomato sauce keep me from getting scurvy? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know
I'm not a
what
doctor.
I'm not either.
Um, Last one. Let's go. Man, I'd love to say ice cream, but I had to think about longevity here. Let's go. I'm gonna go bananas. I'm gonna go
Okay.
bananas.
I
Yeah,
like it. I
because
think we're
between the
covering a lot of
three,
bases.
yeah, between the three, I think I've gotten there. I think I've covered many bases. I may still get scurvy in this scenario, but I think I'm gonna say that because of tomato sauce, I'm staving it off.
Okay. I respect it. Okay, so we have our three exercises
Hmm.
that you're sticking with. We have the three foods. I'm gonna go off script here, but we are gonna go with another three. So not really like training, nutrition, kind of lifestyle related, if we'll call it that. Now you can only have three movies that you can watch for the rest of your life.
Now, this is going to be an interesting one because I'm famously not a movie guy. Famously known from coast to coast.
So this may be a good. You may have only seen three movies.
No, okay, I'm not that bad. But I am the guy that when people are like, "Oh, in this movie," and I'm like, "You'd have to." I don't know. Off out the gate though, I mean, not even hard for me to think of is Happy Gilmore. Um,
Okay.
All time sport movie. Um, Got to be Happy Gilmore on the list. I hmm. I always loved Tommy Boy when I was young. Chris Farley and David Spade. I always loved Tommy Boy, but as I've gotten older, I realize it doesn't have a lot of substance, obviously. But I'm still gonna go with it
Oh, but
because
Happy Gilmore has so much substance.
Happy Gilmore has lessons. 360 days till hockey tryouts. Got to toughen up. I mean, there's lessons. There's lessons there. It's all in the hips. That's an all-time Chubbs quote. Um, Anyone who is listening who hasn't seen Happy Gilmore will not. Who's Chubbs? All in the hips. What is he talking about? That's an all-time coaching cue.
That's true.
Anyway, third movie. Should probably pick something a little more serious. A third movie. What is like the movie that I say is my favorite movie to keep people from pressing further? Um, I think I used to say Dead Poet Society to sound smart. Um, oh, you know what though? Robin Williams reminds me. I'll go Good Will Hunting as the last one.
See, I like those three. I think again, we're looking at like we're getting a real good picture of Billy Cedar here of
Yeah.
like what's he eating, what's he lifting, and then what's he going home and probably not going to relax to because he doesn't
Yeah.
watch movies. This is
Yeah.
we got you under the microscope here, and
Yeah.
I'm liking what I'm hearing.
Eating eggs
Um,
and watching Happy Gilmore, man.
there you go. All right. Well, I'll spin it back to maybe a more constructive question here.
For sure.
Another three, just to kind of wrap it up here. So, if you could give three pieces of advice to someone who uh, is maybe coming back from like an injury or um, has had a crazy work schedule or a different job where they have a little bit more time now and they're looking to kind of like make a change for like their lifestyle and want to get back into training but are kind of like lost on what to do, not sure where to look to or what to do. What are three pieces of advice that you're giving to someone who's trying to kind of get back on their feet from a training standpoint?
Yeah. This one hits close to home for me because I had a hard time for a while. Like people assume like when you're like a strength coach, like, oh, you must love lifting all the time. And like for a lot of us that is true a lot of the time. But and I don't know if you have had this, Aaron, where like you're around it so much that sometimes you kind of lose your own personal love for it. And I know for me, like there were times there was a stretch there where it was like, man, I know I need to lift or exercise, but it feels like such a chore. Like
Sure.
you work groups out all day, and then it's like, oh, that's right, I need to do something to like get myself healthy. So the thing that I would say that like really helped me with kind of getting out of that rut and like getting back into a somewhat good routine now is like, one, just start. Just start. Do anything, but just start, because oftentimes your warm up is the most laborious, difficult part of the workout. Of like, once I got started, I was cooking.
Right.
But it's like that initial hump of like, it takes so much more energy to start than to just keep going. And when you do start, do something you like doing. Like for me, like getting back into like bench pressing was a thing of like, oh, I really like bench pressing. It's fun. I enjoy it. Nothing like aches when I do it, which is extra nice. And it's something. It's working out. So just do it. Just do something that you can enjoy, and like don't put a timer on it or an expectation on it. I started jogging. Me of all people started jogging a couple of years ago.
Attaboy.
And yeah, I know, right? And the thing I told myself was, all right, you're not going to go jog for a half hour. You're not going to go from never jogging to jogging for 30 minutes. But you can jog for 5. And 5 is more than 0. So as long as your left foot is going in front of your right foot and so on and so forth, and you keep going and you don't stop for 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 10 minutes. Before I knew it, I was jogging for a half hour on a treadmill. Me. and it now it ebbs and flows. That like it is a thing that I sometimes enjoy now, and sometimes is like, I don't want to do this, but I gotta go do it because I know it's good for me. So just get up and get started. Don't put expectations on it. Do something you like for as long as you can. And if you hear this and you're like, all right, I'm gonna start jogging, and you jog for 4 minutes, and then you're like, I'm over this, I'm walking. Well, you jogged for 4 minutes where before you were gonna jog for 0. So good job, So that's one. The next thing would be write it down. Anything you're trying to improve, write it down. If you're trying to get stronger, write down every set, rep, weight, exercise you do. Write it down. You don't have to make a spreadsheet and be super scientific about it, but keep a record so that in 4 months, when you're like, man, I don't know that I'm getting any stronger on my squat, you can look back and go, oh, well, I did this much for 10 reps last, 4 months ago, and I just did it for 10 reps here. Did a different weight for 10 reps. I got better. Nutrition too. Like if you want to get better with your nutrition, write down what you're eating and then look back at it, and you'll have a way better picture of what you're doing. The third thing and last thing would just be like to cut yourself some slack. It's like such a long-term thing that if you think you're going to be perfect all the time, you're starting with a really bad expectation. So, hold yourself accountable, be somewhat hard on yourself. I shouldn't say be hard on yourself, but hold yourself accountable and be disciplined. That's what I will say. But like, if you miss a day or you have a cheat day, like you're fine. Like you're human. It's not if you're great 6 days out of the week and then bad for one, that one day isn't going to mess with your other 6. So cut yourself a little slack and just remember that you're human and just stay on track as best you can.
I love it, man. Very wise words from the old Billy Cedar. Well, sweet Billy. Well, thank you so much, man. I think that one gives some people a good introduction to you, but I like your thoughts on some 3 favorites and, little bits of advice. So it's great to have you on. I know we'll have you on in future episodes as well. So really appreciate you, and we'll talk again soon, man.
All right. Thanks, Aaron.